Hello friends, today we shall study a very important topic which is known as function. As we all know that function is a very crucial thing as far as programming is concerned. Be it C language or C++ or Java or Python, in every language function plays a very crucial role. Now what is a function? As mentioned here, you see a function is a block of code which performs a specific task. Function is a block of code which performs a specific task. Ideally, a function should perform a particular task. Now, it is possible for us to create a function with more than one task inserted in it, but that will not be considered as a good function. A function should actually perform a specific task. Let me take an example. Here is an example. Example 1. Let me copy this program and transfer it to a new file. Let me paste it here. And now let me run it. Because the function is not safe, we are being asked to save this program. So let us first save it. Just give out any name. I am giving a random name. And see what we get. We got output testing function. Now let us study the program. Def test. What is def? Def is the keyword which is used to define a function. Def followed by the name of the function. Test is the function here, and def is the keyword which defines the function test. And what does the function do? Function merely prints the statement testing function. As I said, I am merely demonstrating the basic features of function. We are not currently interested in big programs. We are simply interested in bringing out the concept of function. So how do we define a function? Write def followed by the name of the function, def test, and then give the body of the function. Testing function is the output of the function, and this is the function call. All right. So a function is a block of code which performs a specific task, and we learn how to define a function. You see, in Python, a function is defined using the keyword def. All right, we use the keyword def to define a function. To call a function, use the function name followed by parenthesis. What we have used? I have used the function name test followed by the parenthesis. To call a function, write the name of the function and follow it by the parenthesis. To call a function, use the function name followed by parenthesis. We have demonstrated it. Information can be passed into function as argument. Now, you see this program, test, it doesn't accept any argument. This function doesn't accept any argument, but it is possible for us to pass arguments in a function. We can pass data known as parameters into a function. Function may or may not return data as a result. Function may or may not result data. All right. The function may return data, it may not return data. Information can be passed into function as arguments. Arguments follows the function name. We can use as many arguments as we want. All right. We can use as many arguments as we want. All right. Since I am making some modification in the original data, I'm just saving it. Let us proceed. So, till now we have studied the definition of function and how to call a function, how to define and call a function. Next, let us proceed. Example 2. Here we have defined a function test which accepts a parameter t and then prints that parameter. Now, what I am doing, I am invoking this function using 3 values. With values test, with value tech, with Pandit, and with Tiwari. Now we'll run this program and demonstrate the output. Copying the program and shifting it in our test program. Then I will run it. Now let us run this program and see what is the output. Once I run the program, you see we are getting Tech Pandit Tiwari sir. Now, how is this happening? Test, I'm calling the function test and passing the parameter tech in it. So what happens? This tech values goes into T. You see, here is a concept of actual and formal parameter. In general programming language, that means in C and C++, the term actual and formal parameter is used. But in Python, the term parameter and argument is used. Let me first explain all these things. Let me first explain this program. So test is a function which accepts parameter T. So I am calling the test function with three values. First Tech, then Pandit, and then Tiwari sir. And what we are getting the result? We are getting the result Tech, Pandit, and Tiwari sir. Now, in general programming term, Tech, Pandit, and Tiwari sir, these are actual parameters. And T is the formal parameter. That means parameter which is used in the definition of function is known as formal parameter. And parameter which is passed to the function during the function call is known as the actual parameter. So Tech, Pandit, and Tiwari sir, these are the actual parameter. And T here is the formal parameter. But the terminology is not same in case of Python. In Python, there is slight difference. See here, a parameter, you see, a parameter is the value defined in the function definition. That means here T is the variable which is being used in the function. So T is regarded as parameter. An argument is the value used in function call. And Tech, Pandit, and Tiwari sir, these are arguments. So what was actual parameter in general programming language is considered argument here. And what was formal parameter in other programming language is considered as parameter here. Though I would prefer to have used the terms which is universally used across languages, but there are certain things which are exclusive to a language. So while parameter and argument is same thing in most of the languages, here parameter and argument are used in two different contexts. Parameter is the value defined in the function definition, that means which is the formal parameter, and argument is the value used in function call, which is the actual parameter. All right, so things become pretty much clear here. So information can be passed into function as argument. Argument follows the function name. All right, argument should follow the function name. We can use as many arguments as we want. Now there is no restriction on the number of arguments which we can pass in a function. We can use any number of arguments. Now if we are not sure about the number of arguments which we will pass in a function, then what we should do? You see, if number of arguments are not fixed, add a start sign, which means asterisk before the parameter name in the function definition. All right. So let us see what has been done here. Test is a function. I am passing, while calling the function test, you see I am passing three values, Tech, Pandit, and Tiwari sir. Now ideally there should be three parameters here to receive the three arguments being passed. But what we have done, we have used a asterisk sign here. It is like the wildcard character which we use in search engines, in window operating system, in operating systems, or in generally we know that asterisk is a wildcard character. It is somewhat working like that. So we are passing three arguments which is being accepted in variable T. And how do we get the individual component of that argument? By using the subscript T2. So let us see the outcome of this program. Let us copy it. And run it. We are getting teacher's name is Tiwari sir. Why we are getting Tiwari sir? Because we are printing T2. As we know that in array or in any sequence starts from 0. So suppose I am writing take 0 here. Then what will be the output? Take 0. That means tech will be the output, because we know that all sequence starts from 0. Sequence always commences from 0. It is like the array in different other programming languages. All right. So we have understood how we can pass arbitrary arguments in a function. All right. Next, keyword arguments. Now, we know that Python is a very versatile language. There is a lot of flexibility in it. Unlike rigid languages like C and C++, where there is extreme rigidity, there is a lot of flexibility in Python. One such flexibility is the concept of keyword argument. Now, suppose we don't want to send the value in a function in the sequence in which the parameters are defined. That means we want to send it in different sequence. So it is also possible to send arguments with value with the key is equal to value syntax. That means instead of depending on the positional argument, we are using the key values. In this case, the order of the argument is not important. So let us see this thing. Let us copy this thing and shift ourselves to this program. Let us paste it here and see the consequence. Run the program. Some error is coming. All right. So before solving the error, let us see what is happening here. The error is that the variable name is mistaken here. You see, define test. Test is the function which accepts three values, T3, T2, T1. And T1 is Tech, T2 is Pandit, and T3 is Tiwari, sir. Now see what happens. Suppose I want to see the value of T2. Now let me run it. What we are getting? The name of the teacher is Pandit. Now why this is coming? Because I am printing T2. You see, argument is in sequence T3, T2, T1. But we are passing parameters in this sequence. No, let me now change it. Let me print first T1. Then things will be clear. See, the name of the teacher is Tech. All right. You see what is happening? I am printing T1 here. So T1, you see, ideally, if it was not the this key argument, then what would have happened? Tech would go in variable T3 and T1 would have received Tiwari sir. But what we have done here, since we are using the keyword arguments, T1 gives us the exact value of T1, which is in the calling function. So next, the things which we'll study is the concept of the phrase keyword arguments are often sought. Now we will study the concept of keyword arguments. Is arbitrary keywords argument. What is the concept? Concept is arbitrary keyword argument. We can take any variable, but here we have to use two asterisks. Now this is very interesting. Those who know the languages of C and C++ would find this thing very interesting. It is like the double pointer of C language. Arbitrary key arguments. If the number of keyword arguments is not known, add asterisk, double asterisk before the parameter name. So let us see this example 5. Let me copy this and take it to the coding section. Copy it. And let us run the program and see the output first. Again, we are getting an error. All right? Because the variable name has not been properly defined, it shall be T. Now let us rerun the program. The teacher is Pandit. Now, what does it mean? Let us see. First, we are passing two arguments, T1 Tech, T2 Pandit, and these are not positional arguments. These are keyword arguments. So T1 and T2 both enters the variable T, and as required by us, I am printing T2. That means Pandit will be printed. If I give T1, then Tech will be printed. Okay. Next comes the concept of default parameters. Now, what is default parameters? Default parameters means what? You see, if we call the function without argument, it uses the default parameters. That means if we invoke a function without arguments, that in that case, what will happen? Suppose a function accepts an argument, but we invoke a function without an argument. Then to handle this type of scenario, we can use the concept of default arguments. For example, you see, I have used a function test here, and I have passed an argument name here. And the name variable, the parameter name is being initialized to word Pandit. And I am invoking this function using I am twice invoking this function, one with the parameter Tiwari sir. In that case, what will happen? The value of the name will be overwritten and Tiwari sir will be printed. And second, I am calling the function without any argument. Then in that scenario, it will accept the default argument Pandit and print it. So I will demonstrate it. Let us paste it here and then let us run it. So what should be printed? Tiwari sir followed by, you see, Tiwari sir followed by Pandit. Now, how is the thing coming? First, the name is name. Name is name. While calling the function, I have passed the name Tiwari sir. So the actual parameter has been overwritten with actual parameter has overwritten the foreign parameter. But in second scenario, when I am not passing anything, then what happens? Then the default value Pandit is placed in the variable name, and so Pandit gets printed. Now, passing a list as an argument, you see, it is very interesting thing. It is possible for us to pass a sequence in an argument. Very interesting thing. It is possible to send any data type as argument to a function. Now, what does this mean? It means that it is possible for us to pass string, number, list, dictionary, just about anything as an argument. It will retain its nature. Means if we pass list, it will still remain a list. If we pass this dictionary, it will still remain a dictionary. Let us test it. First, again, I have created a function test T. Let me first copy the program and run it, and then the things will be clear. Let us run the program. Error. So why error is coming? Let us see. First, define test. We are defining a function test which accepts a parameter T. And what I am doing? First, let me rectify the mistake. You see, there is a conflict of name here. The function call has a capital name while the function definition has a smaller t here. So we know that Python is a case sensitive language, so we rectify our fault and then rerun the program. And first get the result. So we got the result good, better, best. Now see what I am doing. I have created a list named T with 3 values, good, better, and best. All right. And I am passing this list in the parameter T. Define test function I am defining, and it is accepting the 3 value good, better, best. Now for I in T, we know that for loop can work on sequence. So here the for loop I is working on sequence T, and first the value of I will be good, it gets printed. Second, the value of I will be better, it gets printed. And third, the value of I will be best, it gets printed. So what is happening? We are being able to pass list in a function. Likewise, we can pass any other thing also to the function, like tuples and all that things. Now we shall study the concept of return value. We know that it is possible for a function to return a value. All right, function can return, function may or may not return a value. All right. So if the function wants to return a value, what we have to do? We have to we have to write return statement in the function. Let us see. I have created function calculate, which accepts one parameter x, and then it multiplies the value of x by 5 and returns it. So what I'm doing here, I'm calling the calculate function with value 3, 4, and 5. So value of x will be 3. Then in that scenario, what will be answered? 3, 5, 6, 15. Then the value of 4 will be, then value of x will be 4, which will result us in getting the value 20. So let us see. Let us see. Let us paste it. Run it. We are getting invalid syntax. Where is invalid syntax? You see here. Here we need one more bracket. One more parenthesis is required. Syntax. We have to be very careful about that. What we are getting? We are getting, see, 15, 20, and 25. How? 15, 20, and 25. How we are getting so? First, the value 3 is being passed in x. So 3 5s are 15. Then value 4, 4 5s are 20. Then value 5, 5 5s 25. You see, print statement, we are invoking the function from within the print function. So what happens when values are written? It is written in the print function as argument, and then it gets printed. Now there are situations where a function doesn't do anything, but we have to give some body to the function. In that case, we can use the pass statement. If function definition has no content, use the fast statement. For example, this function here, the function doesn't have any body. So what happens? Let us see. Let me call the function. And let us run the program. See, there is no output because we haven't given any statement in the test function. So pass is used when the function doesn't exactly have any code in its body. Recursion. We all know that recursion is a phenomenon where a function calls itself. It is a very crucial concept, basically used in data structures like trees, graph, linked list, and all that things. It is most widely used in C language, but it is also supported in Python also. Python also supports function recursion. Or rather, we can say Python also supports recursive function. Or Python also supports recursion. Let us see a program. Here what I am doing. Here I am invoking test function with value 5. And if I is greater than 0, we know that in every recursive function there is a base condition. As long as the base condition is not fulfilled, the recursion will take place. For example, if I is greater than 0, then this thing will happen. Print R. That means as long as value of I is greater than 0, this whole thing will happen. So value of I is 5. Now 5 is greater than 0. So what will happen? 5 plus test 5 minus 1. That means 5 plus 4. Again, we are invoking the function text and passing 4 in it. So 5 plus test I minus 1. That means 5 plus test 4. So I will accept 4. 4 is greater than 0. Again, the whole thing will be called. So earlier, let me first run the program. Then the things will be much clearer. What we are getting? 1, 3, 6, 10, 15. Let us now study it. First 5. So first I accept value 5 from the function call. If I is greater than 0, no. So what happens to R? R is equal to 1 into, that means 5 into test 4. Again the function is called. Alright? Again the function is being called. So what will happen? So you see, this is very interesting phenomenon. First, what happens when the initial value of I is 5, 5 is greater than 0, so R is equal to 5 plus test 4. Again, what will happen? Test 4 will be invoked. Now 4 is greater than 0, so what will happen here? Initially I was 5, so I 5 plus 4 plus test 3. Then again the test function will be invoked with value 3, so it will become 3 plus test 2, then 2 plus test 1, and then 2 plus test 1, and then 1 plus test 0. Now when it becomes test 0, then the condition becomes false. We know that recursive function acts like a stack. So the last value will be printed first. So when the function ends, the last function call, that means function call with parameter 1 will get printed. That means 1 will be printed. Then after that, the second last will be printed. That means 1 plus 2, 3 will be printed. Then 3 plus 3, 6. Then 6 plus 4, 10. And then 10 plus 5, 15 will be printed. So finally, we have come to the end of this lesson. Hope you have liked this thing. Thank you.